Namaste, angels. This is the weekly love reading. I not too long ago posted the general reading. Please do watch, like, subscribe, comment. More and more YouTube, not just for me. I mean, you guys know, those of you who watch me for a while now, years, even know that I've been having a struggle, a fight with YouTube for years. Ironically, my cousin is a Google big shot. She's actually featured in Variety magazine this week. Um, I've never talked to her about my problems with YouTube. Anyway, back on subject. Yeah, so more and more YouTube is catering to big celebrities and even paying them to be on and featuring them and recommending them. Yes, you see some other people and sometimes it's people that appear to be, average Joes, but they're also backed by some sort of larger corporation as well. Some of you who've been watching me for a really, really long time may remember that people used to offer me money to, like, take over my channel, 50,000, 100,000. So I imagine that it's this type of company that other people said yes to. I found that impossible as a psychic, a real one. I mean, I know it's a lot of phonies on YouTube too, but as a real one, how am I selling you a gift that's basically on loan to me? It's not mine, right? It's like the universe's, it's God's. Um, how do I sell that? I couldn't justify it. I it wasn't something that I wanted my soul to have to reckon with. So I never even considered it, actually. But long story short, some people said yes because YouTube is now catering to people. They even try to take away people who do have like the check mark next to their name and recognition, meaning that they've gotten over 100,000 subscribers and stuff. Even them, they wanted to take the check mark away from people and only give it to, like, this new group of people on whom they're focusing, celebrities and stuff. So that was met with a lot of challenge, and they're leaving people's check marks alone. But I'm just saying, it's getting really, really bad. And people are trying to come up with ways to fool the algorithm, and YouTube themselves keeps telling me, well, have people comment, have people like. I mean, I know you do it, and it doesn't seem to work, but I appreciate if you keep doing it, since they say it's supposed to work at some point. Maybe one day we'll be lucky with that algorithm. Anyway, with the dice, we're beginning with email. Spend money with this one, but I'm sure you can see yourselves the 29, very, very prevalent there. So spiritual partnership, maybe spending money on somebody you love or care about. Also massage. Somebody you love or care about can be you, especially when it comes to massage, right? In terms of spiritual partnership, the partnership can be between you and the masseuse. Spirit says sex. Also said sex in the general reading. So maybe something to that. And does say 29. Also said 29 in the general reading. And yes. Okay, that's the only thing that's different. I think it was no in the general reading. Or no, it's email. Email was the final response. Anyway, with the cards, we're beginning with the Page of Wands in Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone like into those traits or attributes. Page of Wands can also often be about finishing something you started back in the day. You started working on a project, you started a relationship, you started something. And actually, there's a song, I've mentioned it before when these cards come up. It says something like that. Like, let's finish. When you think about us finishing something we started so long ago, we never knew we'd make it this far. And it's from that song, Let's Get Married by Jagged Edge. So it could be something like that too, like getting back together with an ex, or moving forward with your relationship. Maybe you put your engagement or marriage or having children or something on hold because of the pandemic or housing crisis or economic crisis, or who knows, for whatever reason, because you were skyrocketing at your job and, let me focus on work, whatever the case. Finishing something you started back in the day. Page of Wands. Could be finishing, and this came up in the general reading too, both of these cards back to back. I promise you I shuffled. They weren't on top. They weren't on top when they came up in the general. It was like in the middle of shuffling. I stopped. Anyway, this could be finishing something you started a long time ago in terms of like divorce, like separating yourself or divorcing yourself or cutting yourself off or cutting off toxic people, elements from your life. Maybe an addiction. You started trying to lose weight, kick a drug habit, give up drinking or whatever. Before, maybe you stopped, maybe you started drinking again. Again, there's many, many reasons. Economic crisis, housing crisis, pandemic. Maybe, you picked up the habit again, or you were never able to stop. Maybe you gained a lot of weight because you've been on quarantine. And so now you've decided, I'm putting my foot down. I'm finishing that diet I started back in the day. I'm finishing, letting go of these addictions and things that I have. I'm going to go to online AA or whatever the case is. Of course, the devil also represents the sign of Capricorn and the planet Saturn. And then behind it, the next card is in reverse. It is the Knight of Swords. A Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Just putting the Page of Wands and the... Did you see that? The devil, putting the Page of Wands and the devil in the deck randomly, and I'm going to shuffle a little bit in front of you. So that devil, wanted to be seen. Death was also, I think death was behind the devil in the general. Was another one. And this shows up to say you have the strength, to accomplish that. Major Arcana card, strength, represents the sign of Leo most directly, but it does show that we have what it takes to face our demons and challenges and all of that stuff. There it is again. Can you believe this? All right, on that note, that was the Queen of Wands, I think. Yep. So a lot of this fire energy too. Let's cover her up. Let's get her nice and mixed up in here. And the Eight of Wands reversed is our overall energy. We had the same one in the general reading. Followed by the Two of Swords. So this is like a delay. And I think it's a delay in a decision that you already know what your decision is. The Two of Swords is a card of indecision, as far as I'm concerned, rather than needing to make a decision. It's like you have one, but you're just not saying it because you're afraid of what other people will think or say or do if you make this decision. So it's like, I know I want to be with this man or this woman, for example, since this is the love reading, right? But my mama don't like him. My friends don't like him. He just got out of jail and all this. So what are people going to say if I do it? Or he's so much younger than me, or he's so much older than me. Younger than me is men my age don't like me. They're not interested in me ever. It's crazy. The younger ones are. So if I was embarrassed about that, I said, he's so much younger than me. What are my friends and family and people at work and society and all of that? What is everybody going to say? So because of that, I'd rather not make my honest decision, and I'm just going to be with, that guy my age that likes me, that I'm not interested in. I'm going to be with him though, and put up a facade. It's going to be a farce, and we're going to pretend to be happily ever after. At least I am. He maybe will be happy because he's interested. I'm not interested though, but I'm just going to pretend I am because I don't want to say what I'm really interested in. And that can apply to LGBTQIA plus issues. Everyone thinks I'm straight. What are they going to say if they find out I'm not? I don't want to say. So I'm going to pretend I'm going to be on the DL, but I'm going to be unhappy, really. That's what the Two of Swords is about. And so maybe it's a delay in finally saying what you want to do, hopefully for good reason, right? Fortune's making a turn. So maybe you'll have the strength and the confidence in yourself and the no fucks to give that you'll make the decision that is appropriate for you. Real King of Wands stuff. All right. Leader, boss, doesn't, tolerate foolishness or bullshit. The Wheel of Fortune represents the planet Jupiter and the sign of Sagittarius most directly, right, which Jupiter rules. But it's also connected to, as is Jupiter itself, the fixed signs: Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus. The King of Wands, traditional tarot, is in fact a Sagittarius, most directly. But of course, in general, can also be an Aries or Leo, or someone likened to those traits or attributes that's not a fire sign at all. He is a boss. He is a leader. You may come up against conflict. Right? That is your load to bear, your cross to bear, to carry. But again, this is success for you. And an earth sign may also be involved in some case, be significant somehow. We have the King and the Page of Pentacles here. A Taurus, which I mentioned was connected to the Wheel of Fortune and Jupiter. Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. There is also a Virgo, I think it's a Virgo. We're up to Virgo, right? We had Leo already. Yes. A Virgo full moon on the 27th, the last day for which this reading is. So right now I'm going to pull 4 cards, one for each element, beginning with the element of fire, which starts off the zodiac with the sign of Aries. Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. This is your card, and it is the 7 of Swords in reverse. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is your card, and it is the Ace of Swords in reverse. All these swords and reversals, probably because Mercury just went direct yesterday. Speaking of Mercury, air signs, this is our card. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Ace of Wands, upright, very nice. And last but not least, water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This is your card. Page of Swords, upright. I have been seeing those water, air, love relationships, those combos making a comeback lately. Okay, well, starting with the Eight of Wands, our overall energy in reverse. This is a card about jealousy and the fact that it does not serve us to be jealous. So jealousy can come up either in an existing relationship where there's, committed love and stuff, or there's supposed to be at least, or even in a situation that you're just hopeful about, like you like to get with this guy or girl, or, both, or whatever you're into. And you see something maybe on social media, can be a bitch, right, for some of us, and you get jealous or whatever. Avoid that is what the card guides us to do with regard to love specifically, because it's a sign of insecurity, right, and a lack of self-confidence and trust, like in yourself and partner or potential partner. And I think it could be speaking about the King of Wands that we just saw. Also, again, this is a commanding presence, a commanding energy, right? Very authoritarian and in control. Think, the Emperor and Aries may be coming up because this week, I forgot to talk about like the stuff that was going on in the celestial calendar and stuff in the general reading. But one of the things happening on the theological calendar, on the Christian calendar, is on Monday, the 22nd, master number 22, 13 or 4, 11, 11, is the feast of the chair of St. Peter. People might say, like, why would they be celebrating a chair? Like, that's stupid. But it's about the commanding presence that it represents. So it's also known as St. Peter's throne, and is kept in St. Peter's Basilica. And people will be recognizing the leadership that it represents. So I think that, again, and the King of Wands that we just saw, in addition to the Wheel of Fortune as well, can also be speaking to that and the power that we possess as individuals that we should be recognizing this week, that we often don't, and maybe particularly this week may not be, because the general reading was also largely about the need to focus, and to remain, to prevent, being from having a head that's all over the place and being distracted. So they could be tied together in that way. So moving on specifically to fire signs. The Seven of Swords in reverse can be about like dissatisfaction and boredom. These are things that I talked about in the description of the general reading this week. Dissatisfaction and boredom and head in the clouds and all of that. And that it can be that you're dealing with that in your love relationships, or maybe the fact that you don't have a relationship. You're tired of being single, or you're upset about being single, whatever the case is. If you are in a committed relationship, then of course you got to give, some thought to why it is that you're unhappy before maybe speaking to a partner. And it might be for some of the reasons that I talked about before the start of the reading, when I was shuffling and talking about like the Two of Swords. A lot of people are in these relationships that they're not happy in because they're not with who they really want to be with, for reasons of, they're afraid of being embarrassed or being broke or whatever, or not having, like, I don't have enough money to provide for, and all this kind of stuff. So all kinds of reasons we tell ourselves that we can't have love, or at least not with, again, the people that we want. People are dealing with that. So this can be why, or at least, contributing to why some fire signs are having trouble this week. If you, well, let me stay on if you're in a relationship first, because you also may want to think about like your role, and that would specifically be your role, perhaps, that you entered a relationship that you knew wasn't going to work, or that wasn't real, or whatever. That can definitely be. And so you might want to think about, maybe it's time for the jig to be up in that regard. Is there something that you could or should be doing differently, including leaving, right? Remember the devil also. If you're single, then there's ways of fixing, singleness as well. That too requires, confidence and security in oneself, and going out and finding, right, and getting. So moving on to the earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Your card is the Ace of Swords in reverse, and it can mean falling really hard for somebody who people might say, the society might say, is inappropriate for you. Okay, so here's the Two of Swords again, rearing its ugly head. This would be you, perhaps taking a walk on the wild side. It's about opposites attracting. So again, maybe it is an age thing, maybe it's a race thing, maybe it is a sex or gender thing, sexuality or gender. If it is just someone who is not ordinarily your type, or you theirs, vice versa, and somebody that's just looking to have a good time, and they tell you that they're not looking for a commitment, or they give you like these lines like, I'm really bad at relationships, what's some of the other sayings? I don't know, but you guys you probably get the idea. Believe them. Like when somebody, that saying, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. This is one of those cases, definitely. The Ace of Swords is about truth, right? They are telling the truth about themselves, or at least to the extent that they're not interested in being in a relationship with you. Does that mean it can't happen by accident, organically? Of course not. Of course it can happen in that way. Does that mean that if it doesn't happen, you should have been prepared for it not to happen? Sure does, because they told you that. You know what I mean? Get the idea? Okay. Moving on to air signs and the Ace of Wands. So we actually got a pretty good card this week. If you're single, this can be about beginning of a new relationship. Either if not this week, heading your way really soon. And we should again make ourselves available, like I was saying to the single people here. Put yourself out there if you're single and you want to change that. Make yourself available for love in whatever way um is you feel is like appropriate or makes sense to you or for you. If you're already in a relationship and the Ace of Wands shows up, um it's it too is going to experience some sort of new beginning, that's positive. And that's not to suggest that your relationship wasn't good already. So, it'll get better, but in a new way. So, it would be new for us to maybe get engaged if we're just dating. It would be new, right? It's a new path for us to become pregnant, have a baby, or whatever, move in together, buy a house, all these whatever would be new, and new levels of understanding of each other as well, coming. So it helps to be expressive of oneself. Air signs, you should be good at that naturally, organically, innately, expressing yourself in communication. So do that. And lastly, water signs. Page of Swords can point to conflict, right? Mild conflict, so no need to break up, unless that's what you want to do. Again, thinking about the Two of Swords and the Devil. How could I forget the Devil? He popped up so many times already today. A lot of fights that we have, whether it's with, whomever it's with, right? Family members, friends, romantic partners. These are not actually fights worth having, and sometimes we do, and we hurt feelings and we say things we can't take back or whatever for no reason. So you're going to want to be careful about that. As long as your partner is treating you with respect or whatever, you should do the same. Allow them to have their space. They should allow you to have your space. That's the air sign way. I know you guys are water signs, but if this is the energy that's surrounding you, the air energy, the swords, you may want some space. Scorpios are good for that too. My daughter's one, my mother's one, my ex is one. So I know them. And yeah, my good friends are Scorpios. They need time to sort of like sink underground. And we just got to be understanding of that. Maybe if you are a Cancer or a Pisces and you're dealing with one. Again, it's about respect. As long as everybody's respecting each other, and then it's okay, to allow people to have the space. Watch out for jealousy, right? We could sometimes not want people to have their space because we're jealous or paranoid. If that's the case, that's on you. Check yourself, not them, right? If you're the one that's having the jealousy, the insecurity issues. If you're single, then again, get out and mingle. This is a good time for you to meet somebody and to communicate with somebody, earth signs. Alternatively, since you're the only ones that got a court card, this card could be showing up because a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or someone like that acts like that, will be significant for you this week. I wanted to also give everybody, or each element, a card from the Universal Love Oracle this week, beginning with Sacred Union. So we all have this to share. Also, Celebration appears up right behind it. So maybe celebrating a union or coming together. If you decided to start dating, we're getting engaged, we're getting married, we're having a baby, whatever. Celebrating some sort of coming together, a union. This is a sign of ascension and growth. So it could be that we have reached higher levels of understanding, like I was just talking about, or connection, or both. May be brought on by a divine blessing, right? These are spiritual relationships, or again, the birth of something new beginnings in existing, or in completely wholly new relationships. And part of that can be because of the energy of Pisces, maybe with this water and the healing sounds. I forgot to talk, like I said, I forgot to talk about anything that's going on in the universe after the reading. I'll do it after this one. Venus also enters Pisces this week. So the goddess of love in, this very loving water sign should be interesting. Speaking of the goddess of love, right here we have the goddess also appearing with the moon. There was a lot of goddess energy that showed up in the general reading for those of you who saw it. And then here we have the path toward healing and divine guidance. I mean, all these cards are upright, ending in meditation. So to give you something to think about, maybe. All right, so I'll just shuffle a couple times. For fresh energy. Miracles showing up. This golden memories could be tied to that devil energy, the fire, right? The page of wands and the devil, something from a long time ago. We have to finish what we started. We have to let go of the things from the past that we're holding on to. These, a lot of times, these are just like negative emotions, like the inability to forgive, regret, jealousy, resentment, guilt, blame, all that kind of stuff, and we're harboring it, and it's preventing us from moving forward. So this card is about taking in positive memories and lessons with you forward, but leaving all that other junk behind. So we'll get these good and mixed up too. And we end up with an overall energy of goddess again. So for you fire signs, your message from the Universal Love Oracle is retreat. And it's very air and earth, very Uranus and Taurus. And it is about spending some time alone, maybe getting up that energy of security and confidence in yourself, self-esteem, working on that, working on yourself to help you. Because the Seven of Swords, I call it my I say that it represents the energy of joy stealing, because it does. I mean, and it is about potentially us stealing our own joy, which I think was the focus this week. In terms of possibly wanting to be somewhere else or with someone else, or just not where you are in the current relationship, or currently being single. And so that's something that you might want to do some introspection about. Very speaking of earth energy and earth signs, very hermit like Virgo. And again, there is a full moon in Virgo at the end of this week, so that may be from where that's coming. So moving on to actual Virgos, as well as Taurus and Capricorn, your card is Trilogy of Light. This too is one of spirituality and ascension, creation, higher consciousness. Sort of like the wheels have been set in motion for some really deep and meaningful growth and expansion for you, and newness. And it is here attached to the Ace of Swords. So again, particularly maybe for you Taurians, you do have Uranus located in your sign, and in terms of the Ace of Swords, right, your card. And I just said the wheels are turning. Remember the Wheel of Fortune? Also, Taurus is a fixed sign that is tied to the Wheel of Fortune and the planet Jupiter. So I'm just feeling that maybe, especially for you, although for all earth signs, this is an energy that's coming through for you. You're guided to pay attention to any new ideas that you have over the coming days. And, some or one can be like the seed for the beginning of something really, really new, completely new, and sort of special, divine, significant for you. For us air signs, our card is Answered Prayer. we may have been praying for the wand, and it looks like it's coming this week. Also, like I'll remind you, sex came up in both dice, so I mean it could mean something like that, or whatever it is for which you've been praying as it relates to love and relationship. Very possibly coming true this week. And we also saw a lot of that miracles card, so things that you maybe wouldn't imagine could happen may happen this week in terms of love for us air signs, and may involve specifically an Aquarius, with this star being here right over this angel's throat chakra. So you may receive communication maybe via technology, right? That's very Aquarius, text or online, or maybe meet somebody through online dating or something like that. And could be a water sign, maybe specifically a Scorpio, with this butterfly over the stomach. It will be somebody, I guess, who gives you butterflies. There's nothing else. Or a feeling, an energy that gives you butterflies. Makes you excited. And lastly, water signs, your card is transmutation. So again, it's that rise and growth to new heights and levels in love. We'll give both archetypes some advice from this deck, as well as the Angel and Animal Tarots. And then I will read about Venus in Pisces for those who are interested in hearing it. I'm just taking the cards from, these are previously shuffled. It's funny, I was looking for the next Animal Tarot card for this, and another Two of Swords is here, popped up. Overall energy for these cards is the Four of Wands, contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, and the successful completion of a project. Behind it, we have another King of Wands. See, these are pre-shuffled. I didn't, and I normally would shuffle them again in front of you, but I just decided to go with it in the interest of time, since I'm going to read about the Venus thing. The King of Wands is motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Take advice from someone creative if you have that opportunity. King of Fire is a Sagittarius, as I mentioned before, or perhaps an Aries or a Leo, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. This is leader quality stuff. Again, think Throne of St. Peter. From the Animal Tarot to the masculine, we have the Queen of Swords as the final message. Experienced, self-sufficient, brilliant, and funny. All of your life experiences have prepared you for this moment of truth. It's time to declutter your home, to clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore. Yes, we talked about that at length, right? With the devil. Something from the past, probably, or that's been just for too long. It's existed too long, that needs to come to an end. Could be a toxic relationship or a situation or something. Getting rid of that this week. Disengage from people also who create more drama than happiness for you. And maybe that's the special message there, perhaps for the water signs who are experiencing conflict. Maybe you're experiencing conflict with somebody because all they do is, cause drama and unhappiness for you. If that's the case, it's time to be rid of them. Other than that, the Queen of Swords shows up to say that our instincts are serving us well. So if you're having some sort of inclination and thought, intuition about a situation or relationship one way or another, you should definitely follow that. Feminine art card from the same deck, the Animal Tarot, is the Nine of Swords. Your worries and fears aren't real. They're fueled by focusing on the negative, which gives power to that of which you're afraid. Stop worrying, let go of fear, and everything will be okay. And this could definitely be attached to things like jealousy, and that could be about what we're worried. Other negative emotions that I mentioned before: blame, guilt, the inability to forgive, regret, resentment, all of these things. could be what has us anxious. But if we focus on positive instead of those things, we can realize perhaps that that's not even a real thing. And masculine, not to be left out, from the Angel Tarot, you also got your own Nine of Swords. Expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, and sleepless nights. So we want to be careful of that, expecting things not to go well, perhaps because they haven't been going well, and so that's all our mind is filled with, or again, perhaps because we're unhappy. Whatever the case is, but you have the ability to rid yourself of these concerns, and also with the confidence of knowing that those fears aren't real. They're not real things that are holding you back. If anything's holding you back, it is yourself, your own thoughts, and you can potentially, with the Nine of Swords, manifest negativity into your own life if that's on what you're focused. So change your focus. You're in control of that, right? You're the King of Wands. And feminine for us, from the same deck, we have another 9. It's a much more positive 9. It is a 9 that's all about answered prayer. So maybe especially for us feminine air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, your wish comes true, concerns fade away, and you have a love of life. But again, for all feminine people who identify as the feminine archetype or with the feminine archetype. And lastly, masculine, for your message from the Universal Love Oracle is Golden Path. So this is, again, I call it the path toward healing. To me, the Golden Path is very much like the Yellow Brick Road, or that's what it reminds me of. It's reminiscent of that. And at the reason for going down the Yellow Brick Road, you know, there was a theme to it. There was a purpose to the movie, was so that they could reach the end, right, where they would find the Emerald City and this wizard who could make all their dreams come true, or so they thought. We too are trying to reach not the Emerald City, but the Emerald Ray, and that is where all the healing is. That is where we can find Archangel Raphael, possibly partnered there with Michael to help us and make everything come out well for us as well. So very positive card about your path. Stay on it. Follow the Yellow Brick Road. And feminine for us, celebration. So when our dream comes true, which will be very possible or more possible if we're not thinking negatively and out of fear, when our dream comes true, because we're thinking positively and we manifest it to be so, celebration will be in order. Happiness. Things are really good. I hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. I was going to say I'll be back next week. No, I'm going to first read about Venus. And before I forget again, that card celebration and the Pentecostal dove, though, also made me think there may be something on the Hebrew calendar that I'm forgetting this week. Ash Wednesday was this past Wednesday, so I never talked about that last week. Or did I? I remember talking about Mardi Gras and stuff. But yeah, so Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, starts the day before Lent, which is Ash Wednesday, of course. So all of that was last week. I think there may be, is it Purim? Something may be this week. I'm not sure. But I am opening my computer and going to www.tarot.com to read to you again about Venus and Pisces, romantic, intuitive, gentle. Talk about a fairy tale romance. Venus, the love planet, is in a very happy place when she visits this affectionate Pisces. In fact, these two get along so well that astrologers consider this an exaltation. This is a fancy way of saying that Pisces helps Venus express the absolute best of what she represents. Romance doesn't get more enchanting than when Venus is in Pisces. Pisces recognizes no boundaries, and loving Venus puts a spotlight on our relationships. Together, they perfectly exhibit an unconditional and spiritual love that transcends all physical limitations. It's this kind, right? And this is the water sign placement. This is where the Pisces energy is. It's this sort of transmutation or this ascended love that they're talking about. It's true. These two really do make an incredible cosmic couple. We will be under a hypnotic love spell while Venus is in Pisces. We'll want to fall in love, be in love, and merge with the object of our affection. It'll be easier for us to connect with our significant other when this planet moves into this sign. Pisces is all about tapping into an alternate dream world so that we can shrug off the stresses of everyday life and focus on romance. While everything seems dreamy and romantic, there is something that we need to be cautious of. Venus in Pisces can fog up your judgment to the point that we overlook our partner's flaws. Unless we've had plenty of time to get to know someone, this is not the best time to make a commitment. It's easy to believe in love at first sight when Venus is in Pisces, so we need to take it slow so that we don't end up falling in love with an illusion. Still, remember I said about believing what people say? If they say they're not interested in a relationship, regardless of how it looks or seems or feels, chances are they're not interested in a relationship. It's an illusion. Still, seeing other people in an idealistic light isn't always a bad thing. If we are in a relationship where we've felt nitpicky about our significant other's shortcomings, enchanting Venus and compassionate Pisces can make us fully appreciate what we've got. Letting go of control allows us to have a deeper and more meaningful connection with our partner so that we can experience love in its purest form. When it comes to the money side of Venus in Pisces, it's a great time to cultivate an imaginative or spiritual pursuit and to consider how to monetize it. Venus in Pisces, however, is not about chasing the almighty dollar. This transit would rather have us doing something charitable with our gifts. And it's funny that I spoke about that at the beginning of the reading too, that I feel I'm meant to share my gifts and not charge, not, make a ton of money off of them necessarily. Certainly not to sell them. It goes on to talk about if you were born with the Venus in Pisces placement. And if you'd like to read about that, again, I got it from www.tarot.com. I hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. Have a good week. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment, all of those things. I do appreciate it. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, apparently that's like the only way. Like we have to support us. YouTube is not supporting us. We have to do it. So those of you, who appreciate the videos, want to continue seeing them, I'm not suggesting that I'm going to stop doing them, but the more YouTube hides them, the less likely it is that you'll see them. I have people who've been subscribed to me for years that tell me they have to search for me. They can't find me. They can't find the videos. They don't know that I'm putting anything up. That's a problem. And it's a problem that I alone can't fix. So again, like, share, subscribe, comment. If you're subscribing, please hit both the subscribe button and the bell button so that hopefully you'll get a notification when I put up a new video. Thanks. Namaste.